So tell us about this exclusive story that you got on the front of the Sunday Times.
Well, I don't think anyone can have escaped the ongoing drama of the Netflix documentary that Harry and Meghan have taken part in over the last week, 6 hours of it. And we know, obviously, they had a lot of grievances during all 6 episodes. But now they say that they are very keen to have a meeting and a summit with the royal family. They feel a little bit hard done by that. On Friday, of course, Buckingham Palace put out this big announcement and photograph that Ngozi Fulani, the charity worker for Sister Space, who had those comments from Lady Susan Hussey earlier in the year, that were very offensive, and Susan Hussey stepped down, the former lady in waiting to the Queen, while Buckingham Palace arranged a meeting for the two of them, a sort of reconciliation meeting to talk about things, and Susan Hussey apologised, and a line was drawn, and Harry and Meghan feel very aggrieved that they haven't had an opportunity to have a similar kind of meeting with the royal family and perhaps some courtiers to address their grievances. So it's all about that, and then I've done a separate analysis piece as well.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because some people may find it difficult to see a direct comparison between the situation Harry and Meghan are in and this meeting between Ngozi Fulani and Lady Hussey.
I think a lot of people will find it very hard to see the similarities or compare them, but this just gives you an inkling and some sort of insight into Harry and Meghan's way of thinking.
I mean, the strategy by the palace has been very clear this week. I mean, stay silent.
It has. I think, as I wrote, the silence from the palaces has been deafening. Of course, last year when they did the Oprah Winfrey interview, and there were, lots of allegations in that interview, the Queen took her time, but she did put out a statement saying some recollections may vary. This time around, we've had absolutely nothing. And I think, the people I've spoken to at the palaces have made it very clear that there's quite a deliberate strategy there. They just do not want to get involved in this soap opera. They don't want to get involved in a sort of big war for words, and they feel the best thing to say is really to say nothing.
Of course, it's not over because Harry's autobiography Spare is coming out on the 10th of January. And I know that in your piece, you've written about, and I'm quite interested by this, sources familiar with the book said it would make difficult reading for the royal family, but it would be the final personal project from the Sussexes, who will then focus on their service work. So is the suggestion here, this is the final revelation and then there will be no more?
That is what I am told. Whether or not that's what actually happens, let's wait and see. But, the final revelation, there are 416 pages of this book coming on January the 10th, which leaves a lot of room for a lot more final revelations. People I know who have read the book, and I haven't yet, say that it's going to make very difficult reading for the family and that it is actually worse than the documentary. So I'm sure that will make for sort of restful pondering for the royal family as they gather at Sandringham this year.
Do we know if the book goes into specifics? I don't know if the people you've spoken to who've read it have told you this, because of course there was the first Netflix tranche that dropped. There was, everyone was expecting them to then go on and talk about the specifics of the racism allegations within the royal family, and that never came within those 6 hours. I mean, are we expecting specifics or more just kind of broad allegations within Harry's book?
I don't think Harry will. I'd be surprised if Harry names the member of the royal family. He did say in the Oprah Winfrey interview he'd never do that. There's 416 pages is much more room, I think, than although 6 hours was long enough.
Yes.
I think that's a lot of time and a lot of chapters for him to go into quite a lot of detail. And let's not forget, it is widely rumoured, never yet confirmed, that there is an amazing ghostwriter doing this book, J.D. Moringa. So. He's written his own book about his life and his struggles with his father. He wrote Andre Agassi's autobiography. So, I think it'll probably be very forensically done. It'll probably be well written. There'll be a lot in there. Whether or not all of it's true, who knows?
And what is the sense you get of whether the relationships are beyond repair between Harry and his father and his brother? I know that you've been speaking to people who are close to the Prince of Wales.
I would say never, but at the moment, there doesn't seem to be an enormous appetite, I would say, from members of the royal family to reach out and reconcile. I think maybe they are all waiting to see what more comes out in the book before thinking about how on earth the family moves forward and tries to reconcile. I mean, we do have this sort of benchmark date of May the 6th next year for the coronation. And if there have been no discussions and no sort of reconciliation before then, that could make for a very, very awkward appearance from Harry and Meghan at Westminster Abbey.
Yeah, because they've been invited, haven't they? They've got the invitation. Well, not
No
physically, but they're going to be invited.
No one's been invited yet, but it's been made very clear to all of us who report on this that the King will want all his family there. And speaking to the Sussex's team, I understand that Harry's very keen to show his respects to his father at an important day. But what the royal family will really want to avoid is the soap opera drama of all of this overshadowing one of the most important moments in the King's life.
Absolutely. Finally, briefly, do we have any idea what Harry and Meghan are going to be doing in like 5 years? I just wonder how long they can keep dripping details of problems within their family life and at what point they then turn the corner.
I think everyone hopes that in 5 months' time they might have stopped all of this, let alone 5 years' time. I think, look, it's quite a currency, the royal titles, the narrative of how hard how hard done by they were. But there must be a timeline and a deadline on that. That won't sell forever. And as I've said today, they are firing a lot of ammunition. It's quite a lot of the same bullets. I think they're hitting a few targets, but let's hope they reload in the new year and move on to something else.